Welcome back for another weekly recap. This time it's week 8, and we have some killer games on the schedule this week. Our first one that we're going to have in action is Mississippi State visiting North Carolina. Two teams that I have to say have exceeded expectations in the SEC and have posed a real threat to the SEC race. Let's see how it plays out with North Carolina and Mississippi State. First play we'll go to is beginning of the second quarter with North Carolina up 6-3, but Mississippi State driving deep in the red zone. They run a little bit of an option look, and they get the ball out to Jaquavius Marks on a 4-yard touchdown run to go up early on in the second quarter. But with 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter, North Carolina has a 13-10 lead, and there is Drake May doing what he does best, throwing darts and hitting his man Nate McCullum for a touchdown to put them up 20-10 at the half. And Mississippi State would struggle for most of the game keeping offensive drives going, but here's Mississippi State trying to get back in it. That's a touchdown catch for Justin Robinson from 7 yards out. Mississippi State would eventually cut the lead to 6, but North Carolina would get a deciding blow with a touchdown throw to Nate McCullum for another touchdown, and that would cap off Drake May's amazing and historic day for North Carolina, setting the school record for passing yards in a game with that throw, and eventually giving North Carolina their deciding margin and beating another really nice SEC team and getting a ranked win. I think the seriousness around North Carolina is very real, and a lot of that starts from Drake May. When you're throwing the ball 63 times a game, you're obviously going to put up numbers, but North Carolina is putting those numbers to the test and getting wins with them. So, all in all, I think North Carolina is a legit threat and continues to be an SEC player. Next game up, the biggest matchup in terms of ranked teams, number 14 USC visiting number 3 Notre Dame, and USC is definitely a little more inspired in this one to come out with a victory because of Notre Dame's current perfect season. Can they spoil it in this one? So this game wasn't actually that competitive. Notre Dame had a really hard time keeping offensive drives going, and Sam Hartman just looked off, as you can see here, and they were having to settle for no points or 3 points quite often, while the USC offense was the one that kept on putting the pressure on. 21-9 here. Notre Dame really trying to get back in this game, and eventually Sam Hartman moving around the pocket, throws an interception, and this USC defense was opportunistic at a lot of points and put a lot of pressure on Notre Dame. 3:17 to go in the third quarter, USC up 24-9, looking to deliver that striking blow, and they do it with a touchdown pass from Caleb Williams. USC would come out of this one with a victory and really sticking it to Notre Dame, and celebrating on the home field and ending a perfect season is no better way to have a rivalry game end. So this won't affect the conference standings, and USC is still in a little bit of a predicament behind Washington and already having 2 Pac-12 losses, but it helps your overall feeling on the season to get a rivalry win with your opponent's home field like this, and Caleb Williams keeps his Heisman hopes alive as he was number 1 in the projected rankings going into this game, and he had another very solid game, and beating an undefeated team should definitely keep his candidacy alive, as we'll probably still see him at the top of the standings in the Heisman race. Then, the next game up, an undefeated Kansas State playing host to SMU, who's only 3-3 on the season and has been solid, but this is where probably their national championship for the entire season is going to lie. If they can knock off an undefeated top 5 team like Kansas State, that will give this SMU team a lot of confidence, and no matter how the rest of the season goes, they can probably look at this as a success if they come out of here with a victory. We pick up with Kansas State down 8, about 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, 3rd and 6, drop off to their man, and he is only 3 yards short, and they have to go for it on 4th down 8. Ball game in the balance here. SMU really looking for a stop. They can solidify this big victory, and they run it to the outside and get 4 when they needed 3. That's Trayshawn Ward, and Kansas State keeps the drive alive, and the dream of a perfect season is still in the balance. Another 3rd and 6 for Kansas State. Man in motion, wanting to make sure they're in the right play. About 1:40 to go. Will Howard finds his man, works upfield, and 6 yards when you need 6 is exactly what you need. And Kansas State still driving. 4th and 1. Ball game in the balance again for Kansas State, holding on to their timeouts. And Will Howard finds his man all alone in the end zone, Keegan Johnson, and now they are a 2-point conversion away from tying this one up and making themselves feel a little more secure. They're going to run out to the left, and they come up about a half yard short with Trayshawn Ward, and now Kansas State will need a stop On this SMU drive, they got 3 timeouts, so they can get the ball back, but they're going to have to do it quick. Minute 10 to go, 3rd down for SMU, and Kansas State is able to stop them 3 yards short, and SMU punts the ball back. Kansas State with the ball, needing a field goal to win this game. They're on a 4th down though. If they don't get it here, ball game over. But he finds his man at the sidelines. They get 16 yards to Keegan Johnson, who caught the touchdown earlier. And now we pick up 20 seconds to go. Time running, 1st and 10, 34-yard line. Hits Trayshawn Ward out of the backfield. They will get all the way down to the 15-yard line. And now the offense is going to hurry it up, trying to get in position to spike this ball and eventually get a field goal in the air. They're going to let time run. Kansas State trying to keep their composure. Will Howard spikes it with 9 seconds to go, bringing on the field goal. They put the field goal through. In this perfect season, a national championship in college football playoff berth aspirations hang in the balance. Kick is up, kick is good. Kansas State will come out with a victory in this one. A hard-fought game, and you have to admire SMU. They put themselves in a position to win this game and had a few 3rd and 4th down opportunities that they could just not close out this Kansas State team, who is always a tough out. And they are rolling now. They stay undefeated and will stay as a top 5 team in the country following this one. Now, our last game of the day, another rivalry matchup. Michigan State undefeated on the season, but they haven't played as tough of a schedule as Michigan, who's had a couple of stumbling blocks along the way and are the number 23 team in the nation. The big story going into this one, though, is quarterback J.J. McCarthy is out with an ankle injury, and Michigan will have to be behind backup quarterback Alex Arigi. And he now has the team in the 1st quarter in a 2nd and goal, handoff to Blake Corum. He gets in the end zone, and this Michigan offense takes an early 7-0 lead and takes a little pressure off their backup quarterback. Now, it'll be time to see how Michigan State would respond. And Noah Kim had a interesting day, to say the least. This time on 3rd and 6, Noah Kim looking for his man and cannot hit him. He was a little erratic, and that led to a field goal, though, as Michigan State would cut the lead to 7-3. Then it's our man Alex Arigi hitting his man in the middle of the field, dashing into the end zone. That's Blake Corum out of the backfield, doing what he does best, finding the end zone, and giving Michigan a 14-3 lead over their rival Spartans. 2nd and 18 for Noah Kim. On his play action, he's looking, and he finds Alante Brown running free. He'll get all the way down to about the 5-yard line with that one, and that would eventually lead to a 2nd and goal for Michigan State, where they can run a little read option look, and Noah Kim finds the end zone, 14-10 cut into the lead, and that would be the margin as we head to the half. Michigan State withstanding a big onslaught from Michigan, who looks pretty comfortable behind the backup quarterback, but they're still in this game, only a 1-score margin at this point. Michigan State would have the ball back, down by 4, 3rd and 10, Noah Kim looking, and an amazing play from the Michigan DB, cuts him off, and that would be the 3rd interception at this point for Noah Kim, as he struggled deeply with his accuracy and could not really keep a consistent effort going for Michigan State, unfortunately. Then we pick up next drive for Noah Kim. How is this one going to end? A 3rd down with a man in motion, really deep in Michigan territory, can't afford anything bad to happen. So of course, another spectacular play from a Michigan DB who gets in the passing lane, makes a skying jumping catch, and Noah Kim will have his 4th interception at this point, and that unfortunately would not be the last interception that we would see from Noah Kim, as the conditions plus his accuracy did not produce a very productive result for Michigan State. 1st and goal for Michigan. They would drive down the field, 1 play left before the 4th quarter, play action pass, Arigi finds his man Roman Wilson from 5 yards out, and Michigan would have a 21-10 lead. Then 2nd and 2 for Michigan. Play action pass again for Arigi, throws a dart and a beautiful ball to an outstretched Cornelius Johnson. That would give them a 28-10 lead, and a lot of pressure on Michigan State to respond if they want to get back in this one with only 7 minutes and 20 seconds to go, as we see this amazing catch again from Cornelius Johnson. Especially considering the conditions, you gotta admire the effort. Noah Kim back at it again, 2nd and 3, looking for anything to happen good for this offense, and he finds his man again. Alante Brown dashes down the sidelines. He's got 65 yards and a score. And now, is that the spark that this Michigan State team needs to get back in this game and give Michigan a little bit more of a fight? Last chance for Michigan State. down 31-16, 4th and 22, 1 minute to go. You need something to happen here. Looking, and he is hit as he throws, and they will not get the pass off. That is a turnover on downs. And behind Alex Origi, Michigan gets out of this one with a big victory at home, taking home the Paul Bunyan Trophy while they're at it. And that has got to feel good for a Michigan team that has had not a lot go right for them this season. Go and get that rivalry win. And still keeping yourself alive in the Big Ten race. You never know what's going to happen. Let's take a look at what else happened around America. So, in the SEC, we already know we beat Clemson. South Carolina took it to an FCS opponent. Alabama beat Georgia State 55-21. Tennessee barely escapes beating a good UTSA team. We saw North Carolina escape a win against Mississippi State 43-38. Georgia Tech beats Florida, and that's Georgia Tech's first SEC win of the season. And Florida taking a little bit of a downturn from their hot start, so not entirely surprising. We didn't really think that was sustainable. NC State beats Boston College by 7. Then Memphis beats UCF 31-24. Not going to go on the conference record for UCF, who's been playing well, but still a bad loss for them nationally. LSU beats Ole Miss 24-7, and then Georgia beats Vanderbilt 31-7. In the Big Ten, Minnesota beats Northwestern 31-19. Kentucky adds another Big Ten win to their resume, 23-21 over Illinois. Wisconsin beats Louisville 49-21. This Louisville team is not a team we've seen, but has not looked like it's been playing that well. Purdue gets beat by Penn State in that one. Ohio State beats Iowa 38-14. We saw Michigan beat Michigan State. Pittsburgh beat Syracuse 34-21 in a rivalry game. West Virginia gets beat by Baylor 41-38. USC takes it to Notre Dame and gives them their first loss of the season, but they're still undefeated in conference play. Air Force beats Indiana 21-0, and Indiana looks like a little bit of a dumpster fire, so we'll keep an eye on that potential as they're 1-5 to start this season. Texas A&M gets their signature victory, beating a previously undefeated Nebraska 43-32 in this one. We also saw Kansas State beating SMU earlier in a 28-27 classic. Tulane gets their first Big 12 win, and they beat Iowa State 37-21. Texas Tech beats Hawaii 24-17, and Texas Tech is a pesky 5-2 to start the season, so they'll definitely have a say in the Big 12 race. TCU continues to be perfect in the Big 12 with a 37-27 win. Texas also remains perfect, 35-24. We saw that West Virginia lost to Baylor, and Baylor picks up another win, and they're 4-2. Oklahoma beats Kansas 31-10, and Kansas is now 4-2 and 1-2 in conference play, and Oklahoma gets a nice win. And then we cap it off with Arkansas beating Missouri 33-21 in a rivalry matchup. And now Arkansas is 6-2 in Big 12 play, so they are just packing them all in early. Now, Fresno State beats Oregon State, a team that was previously 4-1, and they'll get a nice win. BYU beats UNLV 23-3, and UNLV continues their roller coaster of a season. Boise State takes a surprising loss in non-conference play, and New Mexico gets their first one of the season, 31-13. Then Utah beats Arizona 42-17 handily, and they'll remain one of the 2 unbeaten teams in the Pac-12. UCLA beats San Diego State 28-16, and they get back on track. USC got their nice victory. Wyoming beats Colorado State 42-35 in a high-scoring affair. Oregon beats Washington State 49-21, and then our other undefeated team, Washington, wins 49-30 over Arizona State in a game with plenty of fireworks from that point forward. And then the next thing on the docket, what comes next week? So our next video is Florida State at South Carolina. Looks like an early afternoon matchup. South Carolina 2-2 in conference play, Florida State 2-1. We'll see how that fares for the two teams. I think South Carolina is a team that can do quite a bit well, and they're going to pose a challenge for us. We know they'll have Spencer Rattler at quarterback, so they'll have confident quarterback play, and we're going to have to show up still. I don't think it's going to be as good of a team as Clemson, but I think a team that's still going to be able to take advantage of our mistakes a little more than our non-conference opponents. So still plenty of challenge there, and we'll get to complete our South Carolina road trip against the Gamecocks. And as always, go Noles.